Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I have the honor today to introduce Dr. Adam Arroyo. Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, David?
I'm doing good. And Adam is the CEO and founder of SERVE2PERFORM. And he's also the co-founder for the Latino Business Bureau. And you know, it's a very exciting track. What you've done, you know, in the last years is amazing. So would you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Absolutely. So I'm originally from a small town in West Texas, and I was for the most part of my life. I lost my dad at a very young age, and so I was really raised in a single family household by a very strong Latina. My mom, who to this day is a very important person in my life, and advisor and guide and mentor. And there were 9 of us, and so I was right in the middle of all 9 kids. And obviously, college and education was not something that was in our radar screen. When my father passed away, the older boys, including myself, went right to work. Whether that was chopping cotton, depending on what season it was, it determined what we were doing. Picking watermelons, planting onions, picking and cleaning those decorative pumpkins for Halloween, you name it. And so for us, it was really more about just supporting the household, right, and helping my mom. And so, you know, school, but at the same time was very important to me. And, you know, the little time I did have with my dad, he encouraged me to continue it on. He gave me some great guidance. And I was lucky to have some great mentors, a gentleman by the name of Jim Walters, who saw the potential in me and started mentoring me and creating opportunities and challenging me. Long story short, you know, I decided to take the leap and pursued community college, and then from there went on to school and came to Arkansas, and actually ended up getting my PhD in public policy here at the Walton College, at the University of Arkansas, and then along the way, just been you know, very, very blessed with great mentors and advisors. And you know, one thing I've learned in life is that you should always be uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable, then you're not growing. And so I always, you know, try to put myself in places that make me uncomfortable, so that I can learn and grow. Even entrepreneurialism. You know, when I launched my firm here in Northwest Arkansas, there wasn't another entrepreneur looked like me that I had met. And so I started searching for him, and I was able to find one co-founder and quickly connected to him. And but again, I've learned in life as a Latino that no matter where I've been, leaving that small town in West Texas, everything has been foreign to me, which has been good because I've learned to not be risk averse. And you know, I never shy away from big problems, big challenges. And so I've been blessed to reach where I'm at. I've had opportunity to work for great companies like JCPenney and Walmart, and Alpha, and the Northwest Arkansas Community College, SVI, and now having my own firm. And have a wonderful family. My wife, who's the rock of our family, who's also a teacher, and 5 children. In fact, we just welcomed our 5th child just 3 weeks ago, today, in fact. And so, you know, very blessed, lived a very blessed life. And so what I try to do now is leave a legacy where I'm giving back, and I'm not taking for granted all those great mentors and opportunities that I was blessed with.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's a little bit of the McFarland USA, you know, beginning. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie, but yeah, we've seen some of that. You know, my family has also been in Texas, so it's very inspiring. Now, and you were just touching on the subject of your family. I see that family is very important to you, and that you include them in your projects. Um, can you tell us a little bit of how that works, and what lessons have you learned from including your family? So we can share that with our viewers.
No, absolutely. You know, for me, I believe that as a parent, our number one responsibility is to help grow, you know, our children and help guide them, but then also, you know, help, you know, create opportunities for them as they enter the workforce and grow and prosper, knowing how difficult it was for me to get where I was. I knew that there had to be a better path for our children. And so my wife and I committed to that at a very young age. And in fact, the path of my career has followed the path of my children, my two older daughters' education trajectory. So when they went to elementary school, my wife and I made a decision to purchase a home right by the school, but also I made a decision to switch jobs to give me the flexibility to walk my daughters to school and then to go and pick them up after school and bring them with me to work. And so my trajectory continued. When I made the decision, fast forward, to launch my own firm, my oldest daughter was at reach 16, was a sophomore. And I knew it was going to be, close to the time she went to college and then started wanting internships or workforce. So made the shift to launching my own firm. And so Samantha, who was 16 at the time, came in, 16, sophomore in high school, joined as an intern. And, 7, 8 years later, here she is, a partner of our firm. My daughter Megan, the same thing, joined at 16. Here she is, the director of all of our brand and culture for the firm. And so we started them very young in teaching them the discipline, teaching them what took me, 30, 35 years at the time to learn. I wanted them to learn before they even went into the workforce, so they were ahead of the game, and create those opportunities. So for me, I see it as a responsibility as a parent to be able to do that. And so, but in the process of doing that, I've also learned that I have a great passion for that. And so I've constantly tried to find ways to expand that to beyond my own children. And so if it's nieces and nephews, if it's, folks out like you, David, out in the community, who have that desire and that hustle to go out and achieve success to be able to help them.
Yeah. And, I'm really, really grateful for that. So let me talk to you a little bit about your growth. And I've been looking at your trajectory, and it seems like you take on more ambitious projects, and I think there's a good thing, with being ambitious. But I know that a lot of in a lot of Latino communities is considered, it has some connotative associations with it. But what are your thoughts about that? Do you feel like there's a place for Latinos to be ambitious and for them to continue to grow?
No, absolutely. What I've learned is no one's going to do it for you, and no one's going to give you opportunities for you to grow and continue to achieve upper mobility. It has to come from you. And so, if you're looking to launch a firm, don't wait on someone to come and help you do it. Just go do it. If you're looking to seek a new job title within your company, no one's going to come knock on your door and say, what do you think? You have to go and let people know, that you're interested, and ask what you need to do to get there, and then go and do that to get there and make it happen. But I've always found that if you want something, go get it. And if you're afraid, or if you're afraid of failure and afraid to fail, then you're going to be stuck. And the reason for that is, I tell people, we don't learn and grow from doing things that we know how to do well. We learn and grow by failing. It's when we fail and make mistakes that we learn how to do things better and how to do things in a different way. If we are okay with failing and knowing that we actually seek out failure, because without failing, you're not growing, then you're going to be okay and you're going to continuously succeed. But you cannot be afraid to fail, and you just cannot, have any fear that's going to hold you back. No one's going to be more committed and more sure about your potential capability than yourself. That's not something that anyone else can have but you. And so if you're not the one that's going to take ownership and run with it, make something happen with it, no one is.
Right. No, that's that ownership of your success.
And the other thing that I would share, and I've said this before, I believe that I'm one of the blessed ones. And what I mean by that, I grew up poor. I tell people, I believe growing up poor is a blessing. And I honestly believe that growing up poor is a skill set that I have that others don't have. Because I grew up poor, I'm not afraid to work. I'm not afraid to hustle. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not afraid to take risk and work long hours and do what it takes and be innovative. I have started at a very young age, and I know what it feels like to be hungry. I know what it feels like to be picked on. I know what it feels like not to have opportunity. I know what it feels like not to be selected. I know all of that. And so I'm much more humble. Humility is part of who I am. I'm not afraid. I've seen it all. I'm hungry. And I'm committed to making an impact and to make life better for everyone, to keep them from having to experience what I had to experience. So I tell people, look, I believe I was blessed to grow up poor, and it's that skill set of being poor that has really helped me get where I'm at.
Right. I mean, you're using what would be considered a weakness or something.
Absolutely.
That, it's a challenge. You're using it for your benefit.
Absolutely, because it really is a blessing. And if anyone is seeing being grown up poor as a disadvantage, that's the disadvantage. Not growing up poor. It's their mindset that it's a disadvantage, and so they need to flip that mindset to say, no, it's an advantage that I grew up poor. Right. And it's amazing what it'll do for them if they do that.
Yeah. Now that mentality of overcoming adversity, that's very powerful as a tool for succeed.
Absolutely.
So your work, and you've shared a little bit about that, but your work is focused on the success of others. So can you tell us about your work philosophy and what motivates you to lead others to succeed? What's rooted in you to do so?
Absolutely. That's a great question. You know, I've learned in life, and I learned it from my mom at a young age, in that you're only as good as the community around you is, because no one person on this earth can achieve the impact and the forward progress that communities and individuals need to be successful and live a high quality of life. It requires everyone to take part in it and to be successful. And so with that, I found that for me to be successful, I first have to ensure everyone that's around me is also successful. And so I do that by finding ways to help them, to connect them, to add value, to teach them, to grow, but also to learn from them, to benefit from them, to be guided by them. And I have found that collective force not only helps the community around me, but helps me achieve things that I would have never otherwise been able to achieve on my own.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. That's espíritu colaborativo. You're just want to collaborate and bring others up. So I know that you were talking about your upbringing and how that was a blessing to you. Now, when you set out, and let's say when you went to college or when you started your business, was there a moment that your pursuits felt like they were too difficult or too hard to achieve? And what was it that helped you break through?
So, absolutely, because everything I take on is big. In fact, a good friend of mine was just sharing this at a Latino LRG conference last Friday. Adam's only interested in the BHAG initiatives, big, hairy, audacious goals. If not, don't give it to Adam. And he's right. Everything that I pursue, I'm a person of impact. And so if it's not scary, if it's not big, hairy, I'm not interested. I want the biggest of the biggest challenges. I always find myself in that moment asking myself, what the heck did you get into? But I would tell you, it's my wife and my kids who, whenever I find myself in that moment, they tell me, and it's like, look, you're going to figure it out. You've always done it. Look what you've accomplished. You figured it out. And it's that encouragement that gets me going. And I'll tell you, I couldn't do it without it.
Yeah. Wow. No, and I think that everybody needs to have someone that propels them and helps them through.
Absolutely.
So one of the questions that I've been asking all of our members and all of our speakers is to share how they keep their Hispanic heritage alive. And how do you do that?
You know, another great question for me is I'm proud of it, and I celebrate it, and so I'm never shy to tell people of my heritage and why that's important to who I am. Right? I tell people there are certain values that come with the Latino community that are very special and that I'm proud of. For example, us as Latinos, the values that we have, family is very important. Giving to others is very important. A strong work ethic is very, very important. You know, ensuring that we are a good role model, a good parent is very important. Doing the right thing is very important to us. And you know, continuously finding ways to improve things. So you know, innovation is something that's why we're such great entrepreneurs. Is very important to us. And I can go on and on and on, but being a Latino comes with those values, and I'm proud of it. And I always want to talk about it. And I coach a lot of other Latinos, Latinas to make sure they talk about it, because companies market those skills in job descriptions.
Right.
And it's our job to make sure they know, look, those skills that you're talking about, they're instilled in me. Those are natural to me. I didn't learn those in a classroom. I grew up with those. That's who I am as a Latino or Latina. And so absolutely, I have those skills. And so it's something that we need to talk more about and be proud of. But the other way that I help is in making sure that I'm constantly finding ways to leverage the influence that I've developed and the relationships to create opportunities and platforms and spotlights for other Latinos and Latinas like you, David. I feel like that's our responsibility. Those of us who have been blessed to reach this opportunity, our job is now to say, how many more Latinos, Latinas can we create an opportunity? I was lucky enough to be one, but I want to leave a legacy where I can say, you know, there's so many that I impacted, I can't count them. That's the impact that I want to leave.
Well, we're wrapping up, but I want to ask you one last question. So what are you working on next that it's really exciting for you, a new project or anything that you want to share with us?
You know, for us is right now, when I launched my firm, you know, eight years ago, we're a startup. Now we're no longer a startup, you know, with our growth. I was very clear. I wanted to disrupt the people development industry. I felt that it was archaic. I felt like we continued to develop our people as we developed products back in the Industrial Revolution. And even though things have changed, we continue to try to develop people that way. And it was broken. And so I wanted to create an opportunity where we went to market with a model known as SERVE2PERFORM, where we teach people how to have control of their own growth and development through a mindset and a lifestyle known as SERVE2PERFORM. Meaning, if I go to market with a mindset that no matter what I do, I'm going to use a service-based approach, everything else is going to come to you. You're going to live in a life of practice. You're always going to be developing in real time. And whether you're talking to people, leading a team, driving innovation, solving problems, serving on the board, whatever it is. And so what I'm working on next is scaling that proprietary methodology globally. And so, you know, this year we are, the pursuit that we hope by the end of the year is to move into an international market. Okay. And so we've started the expansion in international early this year. And so, you know, next year, my hope and my plan for our firm is to now expand national and to international markets.
That's amazing. That's a very I've looked at your methodology, and I'm convinced that it works and that it does lead people to take control of their career.